I'm in the game. I'm in the game. Hello, I'm in the video with my daddy.
What's going on, everybody? So, we've brought back Meet the Modeler, and we're going to start this, I call season, with Mark Andrews. He's over in the UK. He's got a pretty cool project coming up next weekend, and that's going to be a lot of the focus of this conversation. So, I'm going to bring him on, and we'll get going. How's it going, Mark?
Good evening. Are you well, Josh?
So first of all, plug anything that you like, YouTube, because you're on and you have a Facebook page, right?
I do.
That stuff so people can find you.
Cool. Appreciate that. Mark Andrews Model Vlog. That's my name, Mark Andrews. I've been modeling for 7 years and started off just building the odd airfix kit. Found myself out of work. Needed something to do to keep the old brain cells going. I used to do the hobby as a kid. Let me turn my phone around this way so I've got a better screen like that. Did it as a kid. Got back into it. Hobby Barnes watching. He watches a bit of mine. My YouTube channel is not... I don't focus on the build because I haven't got the up-down camera and the different angles and the computer and that sort of stuff. Everything that everybody sees on my work is literally done on my phone. That's what I'm on now. If I got all the equipment, I'm sure that I would get more into it. But the other factor, of course, that I've got against me is time. Working, young son, young daughter, wife, house, da-di-da-di-da. And I just don't get the time to do all that kind of thing. When you are videoing builds that you do, the actual videoing of it is obviously real time, but it's the editing that takes, and it literally sucks the life out of you, mate. So people who have watched my videos, apart from the recent live streams that I've been doing, the majority of my work is I will buy a kit, I will build it, and then, unlike the people who do unboxings, nothing against them, it's all part of the great stuff that we do, but I will talk about the kit as a build instead of what the manufacturer wants you to do, what the inbox reviews suggest that it's going to turn out like, because we can all watch those and we can all say, look at this detail, look at this, look at that. But actually, when you're coming to put the parts together and it's inundated with flash and bad fitting parts, that's the kind of thing that I talk about. Mainly a fast jet builder. I have just recently done the Airfix 1 in 24 Spitfire, which is up there, I think, on the screen. But the reason that I do that, like I said, is because I can edit them quickly and I can put them out quickly, and it's no problem, mate. I enjoy chatting to myself and hoping that guys watch it or ladies watch it or whatever, and come sort of like comment and think, do you know what, I've got that kit in my stash. Thanks a lot, Mark. I didn't realize it was this bad, it was this good, etc, etc. That's what I do on my videos. And then I've got a couple of lads down at my club, our club, Sesco and Hemsworth Community Scale Model Club. We're in a place in West Yorkshire, over in little old England, and the live streams we sort of gear around what the lads have done at club, but then we move it onto a topic. So we've covered things like places to visit, what sort of paints we all like to use and recommend, washers and weathering products and that kind of thing. I think the next one, which is in a couple of weeks' time, it'll be on my YouTube. It'll be live. It will be talking about kits, because back in the day, you know, your Airfix kits when we first sort of started out, people still build those, and the you know, they sort of reminisce on how it used to be. But we all know that kit manufacturing has come on so far now. We almost expect that Lego type of build with minimal flash, minimal disorder, and we want a fantastic product at the end of the day. And that's what we're going to talk about next week. How's that?
So, yeah, good job, man. So I'm going to answer the question on the video. There
Cool.
is a link in the description for his YouTube channel.
Thank you.
Just so you guys know. And the reason we got him on this week, because talk about what's going on next weekend. Really cool project that I even donated to.
Okay, so can I start where it started?
Right.
So we have loads of radio stations in the UK.
Okay.
And the one I was listening to this time last year is a radio station in the UK called Heart FM. And what this particular radio station does is they encourage people who are starting to go Christmas shopping to buy one extra toy for disadvantaged kids and kids in hospital, etc., etc. And there are many places where you can take this your toy, and you can drop it off at a centre, and then all these centres collate all these extra toys that people have generously bought, and they take them to hospitals and community centres for kids, and they dish them out at Christmas, Josh, because even in this fantastic world that we live in, there are still kids out there who are going to get absolutely bugger all at Christmas through no fault of their own. And I'm driving to work one day, and I'm thinking I ought to do that. I'm a generous, kind-hearted guy. I ought to buy a toy. But obviously, because I'm in the modelling scene, that toy quickly turned into, actually, I ought to buy a kit. And I'm driving down the road a few more miles, and I thought, do you know what? I'm not going to buy one kit. I wonder if I can buy 10. Actually, by the time I get to work, I wonder if I can get the guys at club involved and definitely buy 10, maybe 20, maybe 30, and we can make some kind of a bit of charity run about it. As my day unfolds, I've got to really be tuned in at work. I deal with a lot of mathematics. And I've got to concentrate really, really deeply at work. But I've got this thing that's in my head. And by the end of my working day, I've thought, instead of buying one kit, 10 kits, 50 kits, I wonder what it would take to buy 500 kits to donate up and down the UK to children's hospitals, places where kids, disadvantaged kids, underprivileged kids aren't going to particularly get anything. By the end of the day, I'm thinking, who can I get involved with this? Who can support this? And it turns out it's these guys. My camera's back to front. It's the Black Rifle Model Works guys, because I chat to the bloke there, Luke Carswell. I invite Luke along to see if he will assist. And he's done more than assist, mate. He's absolutely, well, he hasn't taken over, that's the wrong word. Is helped more than above and beyond with his team at Black Rifle Model Works. Those guys have taken the idea of trying to raise enough money in the UK, £5,000. I think in America that might be $7,200, something like that. How can we raise that amount of money in 12 months to go to the biggest kit manufacturer in the UK, that's Airfix, and say, here's a lot of money. Can we buy some kits? You distribute them to us, to our 5 holding areas in the UK. I'm one of them, and then I will go to the chosen charity that I've picked this year, and I will say, here's 50 kits. Give them to the kids. Let the kids build them. The quick build kits. There's no glue involved. There's no paint. There's no chemicals. There's no chance of any spilling anything or getting paint everywhere. Everything's already pre-built, pre-painted, and it's literally like a Lego kit that goes together. And we're hoping, number one, that will put a smile on kids' faces on Christmas morning. And number two, Luke came out with a fantastic catch line while we were talking. We were talking about the hobby as a whole. Feels like it's dying. And Luke's great catch line was the hobby isn't dying, but the people who do it are, because it's the older generation, Josh, that who are. We are still building. We still love the hobby, but if you look, it's the kids that they're not coming through. And we just thought, with this sort of tagline, and with offering disadvantaged and poorly kids who are in hospital something to do, if we break this down into percentage terms, and we say we've got 500 kids, and if 10% of those kids continue with the hobby next 5, 10, 20 years time, we're going to keep it going. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Yeah, and the whole dying thing and the kids getting into it, the thing that I would add to that is 3D printing has become more of the younger generation, and board gaming.
Yeah,
because
definitely,
you have that
mate.
social aspect, right?
Absolutely.
Right. That's why I think a lot of the younger kids are doing that kind of stuff instead of the modeling, because it is what it is.
I've got the son, George. He's 12. He's into his soccer. He's into his football. But now he's getting into his fishing as well. And he does like to sit in my garage with me, and he does like to do a little bit of Warhammer painting and a bit of construction, etc., etc. And the chances are, Josh, by the time he hits 14, 15, it'll have gone. It's gone. It's too late.
Right.
But maybe when he's done, finished school, whatever he chooses to do next, when he's in his 20s, his 30s, his 40s, and he has kids, and he might say to them, oh, do you know what? I'm going to get one of my kids a figure, a Spitfire, a Tornado. Right. And it's just keeping it going. It's keeping that circle of builders, fingers crossed, going to the next generation. And we know it's diminishing, but we've got to keep it going, mate. We've got to keep it going. Now, like you said, the 3D printing, we've got a guy down at Club. He does loads of 3D printing stuff for us. We're not talking about the demise of manufacturers, your Revels, your Tamiya's, your Airfix, Hasegawa. We're not talking about the demise of that. Those people will continue to supply as long as the demand is there. What we're trying to do, what I want to try to influence, is the demand through the next generations who are coming.
So I want to bring it back to the charity thing. What day are you actually doing it? Because I've heard it's either Friday or Saturday.
Friday, 29th of September.
Right?
Yes, mate. UK time, 8 p.m. UK time, 8 p.m. Friday, 29th September, UK time, 8 p.m. So basically on Luke's channel, Black Rifle Model Works, we've got, I do believe at the last count, we got 91 lots, 91 things to sell. Some of them ranging from paintbrush sets to paint sets to some little kits, car kits, ship kits, aircraft, tanks, loads. We've had loads of gear sent from a company called Rubicon. Because there's over 90 kits, Josh, I'm going to pop on and obviously say hi to everybody and try to push it as much as I can. Then I'm going to come out of the room. Luke's going to take over, and it's literally a couple of minutes per lot. People can bid on it on the auction there and then, and we're hoping that the bids come in thick and fast. There are some great kits on there, Josh, some really expensive kits on there. I think Luke's going to start them all off at £1, but we know how the auctions work. Somebody will bid £1, somebody will bid 3, then it'll be 5, then somebody with a little bit actually that's worth a lot more, not just as the kit, but for the charity that we're donating to. So I'm going to put a £30 bid in, $50 bid straight in. Somebody's going to say, actually, that's a great price. Again, it's a great cause. I'm going to stick a $60 bid in, an $80 bid in, an $100 bid in. And hopefully the money's going to hit thick and fast because there's 90 lots. We can't run each lot for 30 minutes. It's literally going to be 2, 3, 4 minutes. Job done. Next. Job done. Next. And we need to clear and hopefully sell as many of these kits and raise as much money as we possibly can to go and buy all the kits from Airfix. We've already, the was £5,000, which is probably $7,000, and we're already sat at £3,000. That's what we've accumulated so far. So we're about £2,000, $3,000 short of target, and we're hoping that this auction, this charity auction, busts that £2,000 that we need. As soon as we've got it, we can get all the money together. We can go and see the guys down at Airfix, buy the kits, and then start sending them off to our charities, to our beneficiaries.
Yeah, and I know you and Luke both use StreamYard, but now the cool thing is you guys, you can set up StreamYard now to where like you can stream it on multiple channels too, all at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a cool process. I think it's going to be on yours, Luke's, and I think he said someone else's, right?
I'm not 100% sure. I've been busy at work, and Luke, bless him, has been busy at work and busy organising this.
Right.
So as far as the criteria is concerned, I'm not 100% sure who he's going to be streaming through. If he's only streaming through his Black Rifle Model Works, that's fair enough. This is not to encourage your subscribers, my subscribers, and everybody else's subscribers, because we're all jockeying for those subscribers. On this particular instance, Luke is not trying to poach people off me. He's not trying to poach people off you. What we are saying is Black Rifle Model Works with an X, WORX. Tune in if you want to see if you can grab a bargain, because there will be some bargains that go there. Put a bid on, and hopefully you win it. We can get it shipped off to you. You've got a great kit for a great price. We've got the money that we can go and buy the kits to give to the kids at Christmas. Kits for Kids project. That's what it's called.
No, like I said, it's a super cool idea. And that's how I found you, by the way, is because of Luke.
Thank you.
When he started doing this charity thing. So it's been interesting to see some of the like group chats that you do. Like
mate.
Last
it's
week I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I think last week you guys were talking about paint.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
mean,
because ultimately with this hobby, you know as well as I do that it doesn't matter what entry level you come in at, whether you come in and you can pick up the hobby very, very quickly, or you are happy with what you do. Social media, Josh, plays a massive part, both positively and negatively, unfortunately, in people's lives. And it's not just the modeling community, it's as a whole, social media can literally influence people's moods both up and down. And I'm lucky I don't get much, if any, negative feedback off what I do, but I wouldn't care whether I did or not anyway. At the end of the day, the whole point of me, it's quite funny this, the whole point of me being on YouTube, man, is very, very simple in my head. I'm not gonna be around forever, and I want my kids, when they're in their 30s and 40s, once I get to croaking it stage and I've gone, if my kids are upset, Josh, I want my kids to be able to say, put me dad on telly. It's that simple. I don't YouTube for likes, thumbs up, good praise, bad feedback. I don't YouTube for none of that. When I'm talking, when I'm on live stream, when I'm doing videos, man, I'm looking at my phone. I haven't got an audience. I don't have to entertain anybody. If people sub to my channel and they find it entertaining because I've got a funky Yorkshire accent, and I throw the odd Yorkshire word in that folk don't understand, that's great. But at the end of the day, mate, once I've pegged it and my kids are upset and they say, put me dad on telly, that's why I do it.
Yeah, I understand that one. That's a lot of, one of the many reasons why I've done mine too. I get that one. I really,
it's
really
cool.
So is there anything else you want to bring up about the auction coming up next week? Because we've talked about when it is, what it's about.
If you go on to Black Rifle Model Works Facebook page, or if you can put a link in the description, Josh, all the lots, they're all listed. So it's not like you're going in blind when you're watching it. However, sometimes that's part of the fun, mate. You can watch the live auction on your TV, and you can have your phone in your hand on YouTube on exactly the channel, and you can bid. There might be things in there that you would never have thought of bidding for. I think the lots, as far as I'm concerned, are secondary to what we actually need, because at the end of the day, we need cash, and it's unprofessional, and it's not unethical. It's almost disrespectful in a lot of ways that I'm just a normal regular bloke, and I'm looking at you, and I'm behind you. You've got all your subscribers,
right?
And I'm looking at them, and I'm saying, will you please give me some of your money? You've been to work this week. Will you please give me $30? And right, well, what for? Well, I'll send you a kit, but I'm not getting $30, 20 quid, right? I'm collating all this cash so that at the start of December, I can go and knock on the door of Mr. Airfix and say, I've got £5,000 to buy 500 kits to put 500 smiles on kids' faces who would ordinarily not get anything this year. That's the goal. You've got to see beyond the kit. You've got to see beyond. Nobody likes sending money electronically. It's PayPal. It's all secure. You've got to, for this to work, it's very simple, mate. People have got to see beyond the norm and just think, you know, I'm going to help Mark out and Luke and the lads and get some money together for these kids. Simple as that, mate. We're hoping it works.
No,
Otherwise I'm going to look pretty foolish.
No, I think it's going to go really, really well and I'll post a link in the description about the list, because there's a couple Warhammer kits, bunch of aircraft.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple cars.
Yeah. Very much so.
It's gonna be a pretty interesting process.
You might see something on there that you would never ordinarily entertain in your bubble of I'm modeling, I'm an armor modeler, I'm an aircraft modeler, etc., etc. But there might be one or two things in there that, you know, that you might think, oh, actually, I fancy a piece of that. I'll have a bash at that.
Right.
But ultimately, whether you fancy a bash at a certain kit or a certain project, there's 91 lots, right? And we've got to raise £2,000, 2,000 UK sterling pounds. And you divide that amount of money by the amount of lots you've got, and it gives you an average price. And that average price, I'll use US, is $30. It's 22 sterling pounds. Some of those kits that the guys are auctioning off for kits for kids are $150 kits. But we only need we only need $30 per lot to make that £2,000. We do that, mate. We've cracked it. After we've done it and we have got the money and we have been in touch with Airfix and we get all the kits, we've got 5 areas in the UK and we've designated a certain person. So in Scotland, north of us, we've got a chap called Fred Foot, and he's chosen 2 charities in Scotland, both hospitals, both kids' hospitals. So 5 areas, 500 kits means that every area gets 100 kits. Fred in Scotland, he will get 100, and he's giving 50 to one hospital and 50 to other. Then we've got Luke and the team in the centre of the UK. They'll get 100 kits, and they've chosen 2 places. Then there's myself. We've got I've chosen 1 place, and the lady helping me, a lovely lady called Angela, she's chosen a place. We've got a chap in London, Clive. He's chosen his 2 places. So 500 kits divided by 5, 100 kits each, and we can take them to these places. It's really funny because we've asked all these places, we've said, can we have some photos, please? And because of this data protection age that we live in, they've all said no. You can't have any photographs of any of the children, but you can have photographs of the staff and the building. So unfortunately, that's what we have to do. Just looking at the comments, Johnny's saying, is it open to people outside the UK? It certainly is. It's absolutely worldwide. One of the rules on the auction will be if whatever paper kit, just expect to pay a couple of bucks for some postage and packaging, because if you don't, then the postage and packaging money that it's going to cost to distribute 91 lots, even at $1, even at $2, $3. If you said that postage and packaging were $3 times 90, you're looking at $270 that's coming out of the Kits for Kids project. So obviously we are saying if you're going to pay $30 for a kit, your actual total price might be $34.99 to cover the postage and packaging.
Right. No, it's it's going to be a great process. I think. I know that Luke does a really good job with that when he's auctioned off. I think kits on his monthly show, right? I think is what they do.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be a fun time. I'll be at work, so I'll be tuning in as I can. But we'll see if I can win at least something.
Mate. Yeah.
But let's get into what you like to do now. We've covered the auction. So you're mostly what, a military guy, right? Or aircraft? Uh-oh, did he freeze? I think he froze. Uh-oh. Oh no. All right, so while he's getting back in, I'm just gonna be showing some of the stuff that I've been kind of working on. Hopefully he can pop back in. Oh no, he he froze. So I've been working on this guy. I've been working on the Black Panther. Pretty cool. The light kind of washes out all the purple and stuff in it, but I've been working on this. Hopefully he comes back. But here's the stand. I got to glue it to it this next week. And then after that, I'm going to be, oh, he's back.
I'm here. I dropped off.
Nah, it's all right.
Yeah.
It happens.
Bad internet connection.
Right. No, like I said, it happens, dude. No worries.
Okay.
But like I was saying, let's get into what you kind of like to do. Some of your modeling stuff. You're mostly what? If I understand this right, you're mostly an aircraft guy, right?
Yes, I've built one piece of armor that actually Luke donated to me a couple of months ago. He donated a 1 in 35 Chieftain tank that I did. We've got the big show coming up in November, the Telford IPMS International Model Show. That's a 2-day event, and I've got guys. I think there's about 16 of us from our club. We're going down and we're doing the full 2 days. And I have said that I'm going to try and look for some armor. 1 in 24 Spitfire, the Airfix kit, Josh. I don't know if you. What do you do, mate? Have you had a bash at that?
I've done a couple aircraft. It's not something I'm really good at, but like I've got some of the Revell Tomcat, the F-14 Tomcat, stuff I do.
The Airfix Spitfire is absolutely stunning, but for the people who are watching, I recognise some of the names. I think the thing that people associate with me is tornadoes, because the little Revell 1 in 48 Tornado, the level 5 kit, that's an absolute ball breaker of a kit. I've built 15 of those because, well, I love tornadoes, mate. And I do love that kit because first time I built it and I faffed it up, but learnt from that. So I bought it again, corrected that mistake, but made another mistake and made 2 or 3 mistakes each one. But I've got that kit quite obviously after building 15 of them, absolutely nailed down. I build in my garage at the top of the garden. I'm probably about 10 meters away from the house. This is my space. I park the car on the drive, and I've put some lights in and a couch and a TV and all my paints and everything. And I've got some display cabinets over the other end. Let me just flip you there. Got some display cabinets. But you can also see that I've got my lad's bike and a lawnmower and all sorts of, you know, just your regular sort of box standard garage stuff that you need to house, not in the house.
Right.
Fast jets is my thing. Fast jets, tornadoes, phantoms, A10s. What else have we got? We've got F-15 Eagles, Tomcats, that kind of thing. Fast jets, I love the fast jets.
So if you were going to do something else, what would it be?
When I go to Telford in November, and I've been saving up for 12 months because, like I said, mate, I've got wife and 2 kids, and I can't just like pull money out of thin air. So I'm saving a few bucks every month. After I built the Chieftain tank, I did sort of like sprout another avenue on my modelling and say I'm doing myself a disservice because I'm going into a hobby shop or I'm looking online and automatically I'm typing in 1 in 48 aircraft, 1 in 48 Tamiya, 1 in 48 Asagawa, 1 in 32, 1 in 24. And it's very, very rare that I type in 1 in 35 armour. But because I've built this Chieftain tank, when I go to Telford, I'm not going to buy a tank. Tanks aren't my thing. But I am certainly going to be looking at some Trumpeter 1 in 35 model kits. They do like coastal guns and anti-aircraft guns and all kinds of big rocket missile launching things. I wouldn't mind a bash at one of them, mate. But I do know that I will probably come back with another Italieri 1 in 32 Tornado, which is an absolute beautiful kit. And probably another Spitfire, if I'm honest, because that Airfix 1 in 24 Spitfire, the brand new one, it's absolutely stunning.
No, I mean that's cool. So we've talked about what you like to do. What kind of tools do you have? Any unique tools that kind of help you do the building?
No, mate. No, I don't. I've got my sanding sticks like these ones. They're from the local nail salon. I'm the cheapest modeler you've ever seen in your life, mate. Let me have a think. Regular Tamiya tape, Tamiya extra thin glue, regular just I've got no special instruments or tools at all. The one thing that I have got, and I do mention this a lot, especially on my stuff, the one tool that I've got in my arsenal that is absolutely paramount to every model builder, I've got bags and bags of patience. Because
right,
it's very, very easy. As modelers, we buy a kit because first of all we're drawn in by the box art, and we look at that box in the shop, online, on eBay, Amazon, wherever, and we look at that box art and we think, chuffing hell, yeah, that looks really nice. And when when you've got a stash of kits, I'm sure you've got a stash of kits. I don't have a stash. When you've got a stash of kits, 20, 30, 40 kits, and you've finished one and you think, right, what am I going to do next? And you start looking. You're not looking at the manufacturer. You're not looking at the name of what the kit is. You're instantly drawn to that box art. Whether it's an aircraft, a ship, a car, whatever, and you think, chuffing hell there, that looks tasty. But in back of your mind, you never think I can do it equally as good a job as that box art. It's bewilderment. It's what draws us in. It's visually pleasing to the eye. But in order for us to be able to replicate what we're seeing and to be satisfied on what we do, if you haven't got patience, mate, forget it. You've got to be able to acknowledge to yourself that when you're sanding a seam, when you're trying to make something fit, at the end of the day, there's two sayings that we use at Club Josh. And one of them is, if it's not right, do it again. If you've filled a seam and you've sanded it back and it's not right, do it again. And that's the patience thing, where you've got to accept that it's not right, do it again. And the other saying that we've got, because there might be people that are saying, oh yeah, that's saying number one, what's saying number two? And this is a great one. Saying number two is very, very simple. And it goes like, if you always do what you've always done, you will always get what you always got.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's an interesting take. That's
you've got to be able to, in this ever progressing hobby, mate, you've got to be YouTube, fantastic medium that we can all watch. It's all free. We can all watch it, and we can learn off other builders, and we can learn techniques, etc., etc. And ultimately, you've got to be able to say, I'm going to try this. I want to try that. And it's not, I'm an aircraft builder, I want to try armor. It's, how do I get rid of this seam? How do I manufacture this part so that it actually fits right? And you've got to have the patience. Do it again if it's not right, but stick your neck out and say, I'm going to try something different with this one. I've got to try something different. Unless, of course, you're at the absolute pinnacle of your game, and if you've always done what you always done, you're happy with that, then fair enough. But every day's a school day in this hobby, mate. You've got to agree with that.
Oh yeah. So kind of one of the things I've noticed about a lot of your builds are the canopies.
Right.
Them things look like glass, even though they're plastic. Or at least I'm
Right.
assuming they're plastic, right?
Yeah.
How are you getting that result? Because I'm sure that patience thing is a big key to that.
I will tell you. There are some guys that dip their canopies in a solution that makes it high shine. I don't do that. I am currently, oh, it's here. Right, so on every canopy that I do, on every single canopy that I do, I went out and I bought that. I know it's back to front, but it's the Tamiya, and it's actually, where's the word? It's that word there, which is finish. Okay. So these Tamiya compounds, they come in three flavors, if you will. It might even be four. There's a coarse, a medium, and a finish. And I've just got basically a yellow buff cloth, put a little bit of that onto my canopy, and literally little circles, mate, like I'm buffing shoes, like I'm buffing, military shoes. And the finished compound, and it will make it sparkle. Simple as that. As soon as I've done that, I put my masking tape on it. I'm what's known as this is another interesting thing. I'm what's known as a backwards builder. Okay.
Okay.
So I obviously fast jets, the majority of fast jets. When I open that lid and I go through my instructions, before I even touch the plastic, obviously I'll look at the paint guide, I'll look at the decals, do I need aftermarket, etc., etc. But because even though I've talked about patience, I know that I'm in a place that if I build a Phantom and it's laden with ordnance, if I build the bird, build it, sand it all, get it all ready, prime it, paint it, gloss it, decal it, gloss it, weather it, matte coat, oil it, absolutely everything to a finished state. By the time I get to the ordnance, Josh, I'm literally losing the will to live because I've only got a certain, not time span, as a certain, you know what I mean, time span, I guess, on how much effort I want to put into this kit. So I backwards build, and I'm sure a lot of other people do it. Once I've gone through everything, before I even touch the seat, the office, the body, engines, exhaust, absolutely anything, I work and I do ordnance first, that every single time. So you can see, in fact, I'll show you now. I've got my tub here, and if I just angle that, you can see that that is full of bombs and missiles.
Right.
And a finished piece that I've just done this afternoon. Just finished that off.
That looks really good. That's pretty cool.
GBU.
Is that for a tornado, or is that? I mean, that's a pretty big missile. What is that for?
Yeah, that's going on a 1 in 32 Trumpeter A10. That's what that's going on, mate.
Okay.
But the other thing with that is what I find is that if you did it sort of like on a chart where you've got input versus time, right, and you sort of like follow that line. In fact, I'll do it here. I know it's only personally, mate, that if I do dedication and input versus time, when I'm like you, mate, when you open that box, you're like, yeah, brilliant, lovely, I can't wait to get stuck into this. And your patience level and your input and your dedication, that's where you're at your peak straight away. So I'm up here, and I've learned in the past that if I do subject first, then over the amount of time, my patience and my dedication to that particular kit, the line actually starts to go down. So I do ordnance first. I turn out results like that because I've got 100% dedication into that piece. But I know then that once I've done the ordnance to a standard, and I'm talking, you can see built, sanded, primed, painted, glossed, deckled, the whole lot. Once I've got that ordnance then sat in front of me, actually what I found, Josh, is that encourages me to put the same amount of time, effort and detail into the kit, because my skill level and my patience level is still on a high, it's still up here. And when I start the kit, which is probably 2 weeks in, so I'll spend 2 weeks on the ordnance, fuel tanks, missiles, rockets, bombs, pylons, absolutely everything that attaches to it underneath. When I come round to doing the kit then, mate, it's almost like, wow, look at that. And my interest in that kit is still heightened. It hasn't dropped off. Does that make sense?
Right. No,
and that's why
it does. It does.
Yeah, that's what I do, mate. That's how I do it. Don't work for everybody. As you know, when you open the pamphlet on a kit, we're talking aircraft here, it always starts with seat, instrument panel, tub, glass, etc., etc. And I can put the time and dedication into that. But like I say, over the length of time, it starts to just waver down a little bit. And by the time I get to bombs and missiles, mate, I can't be arsed, can't be bothered. So I do that first. As far as the canopy is concerned, I will build my ordnance, and I've done it for this one as well. I'll do my ordnance, and while I'm sort of building that, on my cutting mat, I'll have a roll of tape laid out, and I'll get my glass, and I'll get it clean. And if there's a seam down the centre, I'll scrape that off and I'll polish that out. But then I'll get masking tape on it as soon as I possibly can, because at the end of the day, it stops it from getting knocked about, stops it from being roughed up, etc., etc. That's what I do.
So what type of tape are you using to mask it off with, though?
Regular Tamiya tape, mate. Regular Tamiya tape. I'm actually I'm running out, to be absolutely honest. I'm looking forward to going to the store. Regular Tamiya tape. Regular tape. I have tried. I don't know if you guys have got this. Have you got that? Have you used that? That's the bendy flexi tape.
No, I've never heard of that. I'm sure there might be people in the chat that have, but I have not.
Yeah. So Tamiya tape that's designed to go around curves. And yeah, if your viewers are watching and they've said, yeah, you know, I'm nodding their head, and yeah, I've used that. So basically, with a great application, what you can do is, obviously, if you've got a curve to go around, how am I doing this? You can hold it like that, and you can actually curve it round so that it follows the contours of a canopy, for example. The only drawback to that particular tape is it shrinks back, which can lead to paint bleed, and that's the last thing we want.
Right. No, I mean that's some cool tips. I appreciate that. So what type of paints are you using these days?
So my absolute go-to paint is, I'm just trying to find a bottle that's not completely and utterly destroyed with spill. My paint of choice at the minute is that one, and that's MRP. The reason that I like MRP is the colour range is great. I'll just show that up again, actually, so that you people can see that. So MRP stands for Mr. Paint. It's the majority of it is available online only. I think there's only one store in the UK that sells it over the counter. It's really weird, Josh, because it is paint, obviously, but it's not like a paint that you've ever used before. There's a similar brand out at the minute that's called SMS, and I'll hold that one up. That's that one.
I have a bunch of those paints from the auction that James Skiffin did.
Yeah.
For his birthday bash, I got one of the paint sets for that. That stuff looks pretty cool.
The SMS and the MRP are very, very similar. I do use regular Tamiya, although not as much now. I'm using the MRP, and I do also use the Tamiya lacquers as well. I use those.
I've heard good things about those.
The difference is, and I also use from time to time, although not very regularly, I do use the Vallejo Model Airs. But my go-to paint, mate, is MRP, and the reason for that is because the consistency of the paint is so thin. It is literally like painting with coloured water. Now, when you spray Tamiya regular paint, even Tamiya acrylics and lacquers through your airbrush, you're looking at maybe a 1 or a 2 stroke pass, and you can see colour going onto your model. Okay, you can see colour. For a high def colour, something that needs, you know, I can tell that that's green. I can tell that that's desert storm, desert sand, grey, brown, yellow, etc., etc. Yeah, those paints are good. However, for colour modulation, for colour build-up, when I use MRP, the pressure on my regulator is set at 5 psi, which would absolutely blow your mind, because you'd say, how on earth does the paint come out at such a low pressure? It is so thin. I can paint something, and literally, I'm looking around, and literally, it might take 8 or 9 distance passes with the airbrush, right, at 5-inch, and I can be on pass number 4 and still not even acknowledge that colour's been put down. Now, you'd say, well, what's the point in that? Surely if you're going to put paint down, let's start seeing some colour. And you do. Once you start getting to pass 8 and 9, you've definitely got colour down. The beauty of MRP and SMS as well is because if you do a lot of pre-work, so whether you are a fan of pre-shading, mottling, all that kind of thing, all those kind of techniques, if you're a fan of that, which I am, I put a lot of colour modulation down before I even think about putting the top coat down. The MRP and SMS paint is so thin, Josh, I can prime my bird in black, and then I can start to put a colour down, a completely different colour to what the top coat is. And to the untrained eye, sort of thing, you'd say, well, what on earth are you doing? Why are you putting a brown down on that's going to sit underneath a grey top coat? You can put the browns and the different colours down in areas where you know that there's going to be soot exhaust, jet exhaust, boot prints, that kind of thing. And when you put that MRP top coat down, it's so ultra thin that all that work that you've done prior to that still shows through. It's down to the artist then, me, you, everybody else, obviously, to determine how many passes you're going to do. If you say, I'm going to do 10 passes over this pre-work, you're going to cover it all up, and it's absolutely pointless doing it. But if you're going to do 8 passes of MRP, you're going to see 20% of what you've done prior to that. If you do 5 or 6 passes with MRP, you're going to see 40% of what you've done underneath. And through what I've done and what I've learned, the MRP paint is absolutely bang on, mate. MRP, and like I said to you previous to going live, the SMS, my local store, has just started stocking these and has said to me, Mark, will you do me a favour? Will you just have a look at this SMS paint and tell me what it's like? Because I want to decide whether I want to sell it or not. And the feedback that I've given him is get it in, because it's absolutely bang on.
No, I mean, I still really need to try the SMS paint, but you're supposed to be able to just pour it in there. You don't even have to thin it. You don't, That's why I'm starting to kind of gravitate towards that kind of stuff, because I mean,
there's no thinning. There's no thinning on it, mate. No thinning at all. It's literally pour and go. The only thing that I will say about this particular type of paint, your MRP, your SMS, is it's not forgiving in the slightest, and I don't want to scare anybody off. What I mean by that is, because of its viscosity and because of the low pressure that you shoot at, it's very easy to down and back just a little bit too hard, Josh. And if you do that as an airbrusher, you know that that paint's going to hit that surface and it's going to do that.
Right.
If you can't control this and your distance to the point that unbelievably comfortable with your own airbrushing skill, then that paint's not for you. However, if you say, do you know what, I want the results that all these, I look on Facebook and I see these fantastic models and wow, holy shit, how have they done that? They've done it with this. This is what counts. And if you've got the right paint medium, the right airbrush, the right pressure, and the right up here to say, I'm going for it, then you can absolutely nail it. I've had the pleasure of teaching 25, 30 guys down at my club how to airbrush. And when I teach somebody how to do that, I'm no pro by any means. I pass on the knowledge that I know. But when I shoot with MRP and SMS, when you're down for air and you've got backwards motion on your trigger, what I coach the guys at club to do is down for air and literally back on the trigger to 1 minute past 12 on a clock face, not 5 past, not quarter past, 1 minute past 12. And if you get that distance right on that, your results will be absolutely exemplary.
Well, I don't know about the airbrushes you use, but the ones that I have, some of them have those little, you turn them in so they have the little stop. I find those things to be so valuable.
That one.
Right. Oh, that's what, a hardened Steenbeck, right?
Yeah, that's a CR plus 2-in-1.
Right. That, and just having little things like that, or an air valve chuck, at the bottom of the airbrush. I mean, all kinds of little things that help.
I don't use one because I'm going to sound like really big-headed. I don't need it. With that particular brand of paint, I can dial down to 5 psi. I never have to touch it. If I'm doing faint work, like you said, with the back of the airbrush, I can push that in. I can dial it in, push it in, lock it off, and it's absolutely fine. Right. Time and time again.
No, it's super cool.
Super cool.
Little tricks.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, it's brilliant.
So, there anything else you want to bring up on your side of the hobby, right? Because we've talked about paint, we've talked about what you like to build, tools.
Yeah, there is. Enjoy it, mate. Enjoy it. It's a hobby. It's the worst thing that you can do. The worst thing that you can do is look at other people's work and say, I want to be as good as that. You can't do that, because I can knock a kit together, Josh, and I can paint it and weather it and it looks absolutely superb. I actually run I do run a Facebook page, a specialist Facebook modeling page. I'm going to plug it. It's called Elite Model Productions. Okay, that's my page. And contradictory to literally everything that I've just said, even I very, very rarely post on that, because I set that page up, I set that group up to be an inspiration, not a page of intimidation. And for people like your regular guy to have a look, because when you're scrolling through Facebook, mate, you're the same as me. You wake up on the morning, and you look and you click on your Facebook and you'll see a piece, Josh, and you think, oh, chuffing hell, that looks absolutely amazing. And how has that person done that? How has that person achieved that level of skill? You don't fall out of your mother's womb with an airbrush in your hand. You've got to practice. You've got to keep going. You've got to learn distancing, different paint techniques, moving the subject as well as your hand, getting in from different angles, different weathering products, different techniques. It's all there, and it all has to stay in here. And if it can't stay in here, write it down. And eventually what happens is you start building kits in a completely different way to how you're used to doing them. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. But there comes a time and a place where you actually find yourself, oh, chuffing hell, I'm good at that now. I'm better than I was 5 kits ago, 10 kits ago. So the advice would be, don't compare what you're doing to anything that you see on social media. Remember, rule 1, it's a hobby. We sit in our sheds, in our bedrooms, on our laps, in the kitchen, in the dining room, because we like to replicate big stuff into little stuff. That's what we like to do. I think, and I don't want to, guys in general, we like to tinker with stuff. We like to fix the chain on the bike. We like to have a little tinker under the bonnet, under the hood of the car. We like to do little things like this. Not saying that the ladies don't, of course they do. But we like to do that and just enjoy what you're doing. Just enjoy it. Hobby Barnes put a comment in there, airbrushing is an art in itself. And do you know what? I know that he watches me, and you're watching this now. When I first started back in this hobby 7 years ago, I used this paint, Revel Aquacolor.
Right.
Okay. And I built an Airfix Harrier, and I bought the grey and the green, and I bought a paintbrush, and I built it because I remembered what I did 40 years ago when I was building at the time. And I'd not looked online. I'd not asked any questions. I'd literally just bought the kit to kill a bit of time, and I bought a bit of paint. And I paintbrushed it, and I am going to offer this up to the camera. Don't know if you can see inside there.
Oh, hold on. Okay. It looks all like aired out, or that air dried film, or whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah, mate. And I am going to get to a conclusion with this one. I used a paintbrush just for 12 months because that's all I knew. But then when I started to go into the hobby shop more and look at people's work and one thing and another, and I want to do that. And then I moved on to the Tamiya rattle can, which I'm sure you guys can get over there. Shake, 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 and I read all the best ways to use it and put it in a little bit of warm water before you use it for 10 minutes and shake the life out of it so that it all mixes the gas and the paint and one thing. Did all that. And actually, I got great results from that. And I stuck to a rattle can paint for 18 months. But I could see that people were airbrushing, and the guys who I were talking to said exactly the same as Hobby Barn there. Airbrushing is an art itself. And there's people that are watching this that will either paintbrush or rattle can because they are scared to the bone of airbrushing. Okay. If you've always done what you always do. So I bit the bullet. I bought an airbrush, a compressor, a hose. I bought some Tamiya and some Vallejo paint. Then I asked my peers, how do I do this? What happens if I break it? How do I thin paint? How do I thin me paint down? What cleaner do I use? Can I use cotton buds? Can I do this? Can I do? What happens if I don't do it? What happens if I knacker it up? What? And all these questions as a grown-ass man, all going through your head. I bought a relatively cheap airbrush. It was $50. A compressor that was $80. I sat here in my garage and I got a guy on FaceTime. We love a bit of FaceTime. And I'm saying to him, right, so tell me what I do first. Plug it in. Check. What do I do next? Turn it on. Brilliant. Yeah, I'm halfway there. And we laughed and joked about it. And the 6-month run up to me clicking that on switch, people were saying to me, it's a dark art. It's ever so difficult. It's pressures this. It's thinning that. It's a waste of time. You spend more time cleaning your airbrush than you do thinning your paint than painting. And all these negative things coming into me. And it absolutely worried the life out of me, mate. But ultimately, I've got the equipment. I built a kit. It was a Revell 1 in 24 Huey, the big helicopter that Revell do. I had actually rattle canned it black primer because I was buying my primer still in a rattle can. And I've got him face to face like this, and I'm like, right, so I've got it in my hand, and I'm saying, so. And he explains it to me. He says, if you push down and just do that, you'll feel air on your face. And I'm like, yeah, that's actually true. How can you tell? Because I've been doing it for years, Mark. Right, now put your glove on, push down, but pull back ever so slightly and start to move your hand, and you'll see paint coming on. And we laughed and joked about it for 10 minutes. Airbrushing is an art itself. Airbrushing is a dark art. No, it's not. No, and I'm looking at you now, and there's people that's commenting, and there's people that are going to be freaked out by it. Airbrushing is not a dark art. Airbrushing is down for air, back for paint. Take your time. Distancing is key. Don't get that airbrush too close to your subject. You're going to flood your panel lines. You're going to put too much paint down at once and it's going to splatter. It's about keeping a good distance, keeping this hand moving, keeping the subject moving so that you're doing this and getting paint coverage everywhere. And it's actually dead simple. If you're brand new to airbrushing, if you think, you know, I feel inspired to literally go out onto Amazon now, buy an airbrush and a compressor because, Mark said it's a piece of piss. It's a doddle. Airbrushing, distancing, keep the distance. As long as the most important rule with airbrushing is not that. It's cleaning the equipment once you've finished. And if you get a decent cleaner, and if you've got a little bit of a routine on how to clean an airbrush, which is very, very simple. It's not a dark art. It's not a science. It's not technology. It's putting some cleaner in, blocking end off, down for air, back for paint, letting that thinner and cleaner in your air cut. And most importantly, in this little part here, once you put thinner and cleaner in here and you're down for air and you're back for paint, that will bubble your thinner in there. And what that's doing, that's breaking your paint down in that chamber to nothing. Once you tip that out and spray that through and get a cotton bud and just get a wipe, take the back off, pull your needle, just retract your needle back so you can get a cotton bud in. As long as you do that, you're clean, you're good for your next colour. There are so many questions on dark art and paintbrushing. It's a complete and utter myth. It's an absolute piece of piss. My 11-year-old, when my daughter were 11, she's 18 now, I sat my 11-year-old daughter in here and went, there you go, have a bash. And she picked it up in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. She was painting a 1 in 72 F14 Tomcat in 10 minutes. Done. Thank you. Next.
Right. No, the thing that I would add to that is, like, you will see guys that are like really efficient with an airbrush.
Yeah.
And that's because they have an airbrush in their hand not once a month. It's every couple days.
Yeah.
It is very much something that you have to kind of do every now and then. It's not, I mean, it's the negative about some of our hobbies. We're not always at that stage every couple days, but
yeah,
those guys that you see doing really good, fantastic work, they're always got an airbrush in their hands.
It's literally, I've got to say, mate, it is literally like riding a bike. You'll get on that bike and you'll start pedaling and you're off. As a young boy, a young girl, you go to bed that night and you're buzzing. You wake up next morning, weekend, Saturday, Sunday, you'll wake up Sunday, you want to put your ass on that saddle and you'll get biking again. But if you didn't ride a bike for 3 months, right? If you didn't ride a bike for 3 months and then 3 months later, your mum said to you, your dad said to you, "You want to get your bike out, son?" You won't get your bike out and look at it and think, what am I doing? What am I doing? You just get on it and you just ride it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Mark, we've been about an hour and 18 minutes. We're going to come to the portion of the stream where you get to ask me questions now. You can ask me pretty much anything you want. And then we'll wrap this up for the day. And
magic. How long you been hobbying for? How long you been back in it?
So my son's 10, so probably about 9 years.
9 years.
Yep.
Obviously, your skill level has developed over the last 9 years. Best bit of yeah. So my best bit of advice, patience. What's yours?
Well, with being a dad, it's making time to be out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is more therapy for me than it is anything. But I have to make time to be out here.
Yeah.
Even if it's not model related, working on something.
Yeah.
Right. It's,
You're an armor builder, not an aircraft builder.
So I more am into anything that comes on a sprue, but I also 3D print stuff. I don't limit myself to just cars, planes. I try to do sci-fi. I try to do just about anything. And that
Okay.
comes with its own little skill set of its own too. But
But you still enjoy it. You still enjoy that building, that painting. It's the enjoyment.
right.
I've taken my lad fishing today for first time because he's been going with his friends. He's 12 years old, and his
Okay.
friends have taught him. And this is the comparable. His friends have taught him that all you need is a rod and a reel, line, a really big hook, and put some bread on it, squash it onto the hook, cast it into the lake, and you'll catch some fish. And my boy's been doing that for 6 months. And I used to go fishing when I were a wee lad with my dad. So every time my boy comes home, you caught out, George? No. But I had some bites. And then I'd go again and they'd come back home again. And you catch out, George? And that's where the sort of imagination started coming in. Well, I got one, Dad, but it got off right at last second. And I think, yeah, of course it did. Yeah. I'm too old and too long in the tooth to acknowledge that. And I know that that's just an out and out bullshit lie. And he'd come home again next time. You catch out, George? No, we didn't get no. And he's been doing this, Josh, for 6 months. And at the end of the day, I got to the point where today I've said to him, enough's enough. The guys who are telling you how to do this, that you're going fishing, you're not going fishing. You're going and throwing some bread on the top of the lake. So we've been to the fishing tackle shop this morning. We've bought floats, size 20 hooks, shot, proper line, proper maggots to go fishing with. And I've taken him today to a lovely lake. And because of his age, they don't charge him. In the UK, you need a rod license, but you don't need it till you're 14. He's only 12. So we haven't paid anything to go fishing. And my young George today has reeled in 15 fish.
Right.
Right. Because I've taught him, and I've taught him right. But ultimately, it don't matter. At the end of the session, Josh, I said to him, how's today been for you? And he gave me a cuddle, gave me a love. And he went, I've loved it, Dad. I've absolutely loved it. It's been amazing. And that's the same with the hobby. Just enjoy it, man. Just enjoy your time.
Right.
Just enjoy it.
Right. I mean, it at the end of the day, it's something you've doesn't matter what it is, but it's something that you enjoy doing.
Yeah. If you don't enjoy it, scale modeling, you can either do it on your lap, build an old frog kit from 1973. You can do the best you can. You can paint it with paints, with a paintbrush. You can slap decals on it without any solutions, any setting solutions. You can put them on my water and you can finish that job. And you know what? That's your piece. Social media that we talked about earlier on has heightened this hobby so much over the last 10 years that you, as a guy, your competitive streak starts to creep in. Whether you like it or not, it does.
Right.
You've got to learn. This is one of the patience things. You've got to learn. Forget that. Before the internet war developed into the platforms that we see now, you didn't build a model and finish it off on Friday night and go running up the street with it, knocking on everybody's door saying, look at what I've done. Looking for, oh, that's nice, Dave, well done. We just didn't do that. But social media has made it all the more acceptable for us to post our pictures online. But who cares? Just be happy with it yourself. It don't matter whether it's the best piece that you've ever done or it's absolute trash. It don't matter. What I consider is the best, is beautiful, might be something completely different to you. It makes no difference. our audience is there for the flick of a phone. That's all our attention span is. We're not building for them. You're building because you're going to put your finished piece into your cabinet and you're going to look at it. And if you love this hobby and you're going to stick at it, mate, for weeks, months and years, if you're happy with what you're doing, that's all that matters, regardless of what anybody else says, man. Or everybody else, every comment, every thumbs up, every upside down face, everything at the back of what you've done is noise. It's just noise. Opinions are like arseholes. Everybody's got one. As long as you're happy with what you're doing, enjoy the hobby, mate. That's all it is.
No, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Do you have any other questions for me?
Where do you live?
I live in Oregon, and it's the west coast of the United States.
How old are you?
I am 43.
43. 10 years younger than me, mate.
Mm-hmm. But
and last two questions, right? So, are you enjoying your life, and are you living your best life?
The second one could be debatable, but yeah, for the most part, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at.
Cool, mate. We're only here for a short time, dude. We're
Right.
only here for a short time. Just enjoy your life. Enjoy what you do. Enjoy what you do. Smile every day. Enjoy what you do, mate. Makes a world of difference in here. Really does.
Yeah. The first one, yeah, absolutely. The second one, I have my good days and bad days just like everybody else on the planet.
Yeah, get out of life what you can. And if it's right. A little bit of modeling, mate, if it's a bit of YouTubing, if it's a bit of content creating, fill your bowls. Happy days. All good.
Right. Yeah, it is one of them things where the stupid stuff I did when I was younger sometimes affects me now.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Right.
What are you building at the minute? What's on your bench?
So, you actually might like this. There's this. It's a Bradley tank. Oh, hold on.
Yeah, make that bigger. Yeah, cool.
Bradley.
Yeah, it's tidy.
It's a work in progress, right? And then this is one of the 3D prints I've done. But
yeah, that's nice.
It is pretty much what it is. After that, summertime here is just miserable out here in the garage. So I don't really do much that's why I don't do any of the Meet the Modelers all year long anymore, is because it's just miserable out here. Like right now, it's 60 outside and it's probably 75, 80 in here. It's just like I'm already kind of sweating to death.
Do you want me to?
There's the Way of the Dragon thing that I've been doing with Gil and them, and this is going to be one of the next figures that we do. And this is not a little figure. And the other two are up there. So yeah, this last summer I had to redo the benches, and so I had more room out here.
I'll tell you what, let me just excuse me for 1 second. I'm going to pick up a piece. And it's quite heavy. But.
Oh, there you go.
I'm not sure. There you go.
That's cool. That's what, a Spitfire, right?
Yeah, that's the Airfix 1 in 24 Spitfire. I've got it on a bit of a base. You get the full engine with that. You can see there.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
That's a really nice piece. And it weighs an absolute ton. The chieftain that I did, bearing in mind this is my first piece of armour.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's cool. I like that barrel. That barrel's... Did that come in the kit or is that aftermarket?
No, it's all kit. I only build out of the box. That's all I do.
Okay.
That's all I do. That's that one. And then let me just hop over here. And I'm going to get out. I'm going to move my son's bicycle. I'm going to put that there.
Yeah, that tank is awesome. I agree with that.
Right, let me get this one. Let me get this one. If I can open this door, which I can. You have to be very careful, don't you, when you...
Oh, that's the hind. No, I'm not saying that right. It's
it's the hind.
Right.
Full engine detail on the top. And that's on the tiger stripe. That one's on the tiger stripe.
Yeah.
Whoop.
One day there's gonna be a series of helicopter videos on my channel.
And that's an absolutely fantastic kit, that.
Yeah, that's really impressive. I like that. That's super good.
But like I said, mate, it's it just every single kit that I do, I just develop. I just try different things, and with the airbrushing, it's literally just a matter of just practicing, mate. Just practice and just keep trying, and you know, it's as simple as that. I wouldn't sort of recommend anybody to go out and spend $300 on a kit and an airbrush and say this is going to look absolutely fantastic, because it's not. You know, baby steps. Let's start small. Thanks, Johnny, for that. Baby steps. Let's start small. Let's watch a shitload of YouTube. Let's ask questions. Let's ask our peers. Let's practice. And it's just practice, mate. It's just practice. Simple.
Right. No, it's definitely, it's all a process at the end of the day, and you got to figure out what works best for you.
Yeah, there's techniques on this that I would have I've never used before. Guys down at my club, I took this down to my club, and people are asking, and you know, what products did you use on it, and how did you do this, and how did you do that? I don't keep any secrets, mate. I think that there's modelers out there again on the social media that sort of play the cards close to the chest, and they don't want to share information. You ask me any question on how I did something, I will tell you to the nth degree how I did it, because I'm no better than anybody else. I don't want to be any better than anybody else. All I want to do is be better on this kit than I was on the last kit. As long as I'm going that way up the ladder, that's absolutely fine. But when I peak and I can't get any better, then I will just continue building models because it gets me out of the house. It gets me away from the kids. It gives me a little bit of me time. I sit in my shed. I put the radio on. I chill out. And, you know, dead easy. Nice. That is a nice piece.
Yeah, that helicopter's super cool. But anyway, Mark, if you don't have any more questions for me, I think I'm gonna end this.
If anybody wants to it's always awkward social media. If anybody wants to, we've talked about Kits for Kids, please watch it. It's next Friday, the 29th at 8 p.m. on Black Rifle Model Works. That's the most important thing. We know why we're doing it. And if anybody wants to have a look at my work, where's the best place? YouTube, probably on my channel, or I don't sort of say look for me on Facebook because my Facebook is more for my kids' photos and family and stuff like that. You can also find the club. So the club that I've got, I'll say it slowly. It's Sesco, which is SESKU, Sesco, and Hemsworth, 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 Sesco and Hemsworth Community Scale Model Club. You can find us on Google. We're on Google, and there's a million pictures of not only my work but all the great talented boys and girls down at club. You'll find us on Google, mate.
And is that group on Facebook at all?
It is, Josh, but it's a closed group because we're not a Facebook forum that wants 7,000 subscribers to the Facebook. We use that page to basically communicate with each other for club.
Sweet.
So yeah, that's a closed group.
All right, man.
But you find us on Google. I'll be there.
Sweet. Okay, man. I'm gonna bring you off screen, and I will talk to you in a couple minutes. Okay.
Okay, mate. Listen, thanks to everybody that's watched. Really appreciate it. And thanks for inviting me on to talk about Kits for Kids. It's been absolutely great. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, Mark. All right, everybody. So that was the first episode coming up. We're gonna have another one next week. I want to say it's Dwayne is gonna be next week, but I will see you guys probably in a live stream this next week. But I will see you guys next Saturday. See you guys later.